Hi everybody, welcome to another one of my videos. Thank you for tuning in and watching my video. I always ask that you please like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos, and in this one I would just like to talk about something that I think about from time to time, maybe kind of in a more negative way than I should, but I guess it's one of those things I gradually have to sort out mentally and emotionally after leaving a cult like Jehovah's Witnesses. And just sometimes I sit and I get thinking like was I really such a fool and such an idiot to be drawn in by Jehovah's Witnesses in the first place? Like, just like that, the time where you were like, what was I thinking? Of course, this is me saying that like as an outsider. I mean, like, as somebody who was not born into the religion. But you know what? Ultimately, I'm just, for those people who would just point and laugh at the people like me, like, well, yeah, you're right. You were a huge idiot and a fool to be sucked into a cult like that. Well, to those people, I would say, oh man, just grow up and get real. Because I think, when I think about it, and I'm going to make you guys think too, that, when it really boils right down to it, it's, the reasons are just not quite that simple. And really, we should try to understand, just people like me, that's part of what I'm trying to sort out after leaving the cult, like, the roots of why, and just really sort it all out and to come to a better understanding why I allowed myself to be drawn in the first place. And there's, because something, like, all those years as a witness, I can certainly say that there are lots of rational, intelligent, like, well-rounded, moral people who have become Jehovah's Witnesses. And I don't mean only those who were born into it. I mean, like, the ones I knew even that were like me, that came from the outside and joined, like, later, at a later point in their lives. So, really, when you take all the factors into account, there's many reasons why people join cults like Jehovah's Witnesses. Some are born into it, some of it's influenced by family. Some of them might have had negative experiences in other religions, or just, there's lots of reasons. But here's my breakdown of a little bit of some of the deeper things to what I think is, like, all the factors that are really at play, and this is on what Watchtower side would be. You're talking about an organization that is essentially a publishing group that started out, and they're certainly known for going door to door and, not passing out, like, placing literature with people more than they're known for, the Bible. I could still shock many people when that they used to charge for the literature. But after being a witness for so many years and doing the preaching work myself, which, yeah, never really loved it myself. Like, most of them, well, there you go. That'd be the first thing that I would tell people, that I would make known to people about Jehovah's Witnesses. Most of them out in service is because they have to do it, essentially. But there's some that actually enjoy doing it too. They do have pioneers, after all. And I'd say, like, one thing you would need to understand about Jehovah's Witnesses when they're out going door to door, you know, the term I like to use of what they're really looking for when they're going out door to door, the term, it may not be the best fitting term, but I like to use it. They're looking for an easy target. They're looking for people who are essentially just blank, like blank slates, people who are like reasonable, or are not gonna be, or kind of, you could say, like, not gonna have a brain, like not gonna give them lots of arguments or objections, or somebody who will listen to them and take the literature, somebody where the witnesses can basically kind of just take that person and mold them into what they want them to be. That's their goal. I encountered that as a witness, like, you're just trying to convert people, would tell us, and of course, as a witness, you deny it, but in the back of my head, and especially after leaving that cult, I could say it's true. It's true. We are looking to convert people. Is why else would we really be out there? We are out there to change your beliefs, to change your religion. And just looking back, like, I can't believe, like, essentially the mindset and attitude you're going out there, like, that Jehovah's Witnesses go out there with, like, everything you've been taught is wrong, only we have the truth and the right Bible, and you need to join our cult or else you're gonna die. Like, wow. So one obvious area that Jehovah's Witnesses target are the people who, like, are going through hard times, or emotionally vulnerable and spiritually vulnerable, because these people will be more open to listen. Also, people that, like, I would class myself under the lack of Bible knowledge, and people who, like, open to discussion where they can be easily persuaded to the Jehovah's Witnesses side. People who, like, lack of Bible knowledge, people who don't have, like, strong ties to any church currently. Because for people who, like, emotionally vulnerable, people who, like, may have, like, going through tough financial times or family problems, or maybe they lost someone in death, these are going to be a perfect opportunity for a witness to start just dangling that carrot and, open a discussion for the witness to, oh man, get into their heads. I can almost put it that way, really. Like, and just the number two thing I would say is just how much Jehovah's Witnesses hide what they really are. Like, just most people just think of Jehovah's Witnesses or just smiling Bible believers who knock on your door and are just annoying and some people would say they're annoying, quite annoying, but I would say no. You really have to know they're not a Christian religion. They would not be classed as a. They would definitely not be classed as a Christian religion. That is for sure. You know, they are very toxic. They are a very toxic organization when you break it all right down to it. They basically want to take control, convert you to their religion, micromanage your life, and put their authority over you, over God's, and make you like put in service to an organization really, and not really a religion. You know, and when I think about what ultimately drew me in, or what ultimately made me vulnerable to them way back when, was that I was emotionally vulnerable, lonely and depressed as a teenager. You know, I had little Bible knowledge, and I wasn't tied to any church or faith at the time. And another factor, that I wasn't aware of just how dangerous they were. Nobody had warned me previously. Sorry. Yeah, like nobody had warned me about groups like them, so I didn't really think much of them when I saw them like going around the neighborhood. And even Mormons at that time, I used to see more Mormons in my neighborhood than I do nowadays. So, you know, they were able to talk to me a few times, friendly conversations, and I eventually agreed to what they call a Bible study, which is really indoctrination into their beliefs. And but you know what, like, I did take the smart path, or what I thought was a smart path. Like, I took it slow. I asked a lot of questions, which like some of them, they did actually come up with answers that seemed reasonable to me at the time. And you know, like, the lack of Bible knowledge, it was easier to mold me, you could say, into oh man. If I had only known, like, you know, if I had only known. You know, there were a lot of subtle things at play. You know, you meet all the really nice ones when you're studying. They're essentially putting on a facade and a fakeness to make you, you know, to draw you into their religion fully. And it's just, oh man. You know, you don't really realize it. That's the thing about like this, like the spiritual abuse and like what they do. Like, it's very subtle. You don't really see it. Like, I would say, like, do some research on mind control and the bite model and spiritual abuse, because a lot of it's very subtle. You don't, you know, anyone can be taken in by this kind of stuff. It's not just people who are stupid or gullible. You know, it's, they take advantage and appeal to your innermost values and emotions and thoughts. Like, for example, the resurrection hope, if you've lost family or friends. And you know, like, they gradually isolate you and separate you from into like into their little community, because once you're a witness, you can only really associate with other witnesses. It's they have very black and white thinking, us versus them mentality. They'll slowly persuade people, that that their Bible is the best translation, that the only hope is through our only hope for salvation and eternal life is through their organization, and of course that's not the case. Just what groups like them really are. They're wolves disguised as sheep. That's what they really are. I hate to say it, some people who are, it works really well. It's, ugh. Just their Bible is a false translation, and they use it to and it's so sad that there's so many people that believe in this false translation and have all this doctrine mixed up and wrong. It's actually a false gospel. You could class Jehovah's Witnesses as one of the false religions of Babylon that you need to get out of, because they're not offering you real hope. It's false hope, because you always have this insecurity as a witness that we don't know for certain if you're gonna make it through or not. And on top of that, they teach their people to believe that your salvation is through works, which is why a lot of them do the preaching work, and they have to be at all the meetings and on top of all their studies. And your salvation is not through works. And even on top of that, they tell their people, like, your salvation is through our religion and our group of men. They put their men at the top, like in the place of God, essentially. Like, if you're not an active Jehovah's Witness, you will not be saved, is what they teach, and that's just so not true. It's they're misleading many. It's sad, because they think they've got everything right, in that they're great people doing a great thing, but what they're really doing is leading so many to destruction. And if you want a better understanding of the kind of mindset of Jehovah's Witnesses and their tactics and how it all is really at play and how it works, my recommendations would be movies like The Village, Disney's Tangled, 1984, The Manchurian Candidate, The Truman Show, even reading the book 1984, which I have read, and oh yeah, wow. It's very interesting book. It's kind of on the gloomy side, but it's it's very well written, I'll say. It's a very, very good book. It's an interesting read. It's a good book. It's worth reading. And the world is learning more about Jehovah's Witnesses and exposing them, as well as other cults that have these high control practices and these mind control essentially, and that are just so toxic to people. Like other examples would be the Mormons, Scientology, and even ones over the years like Charles Manson's and Heaven's Gate and Jim Jones and Jonestown. I'd say look into and do research on those to see, like what those were all about. And because I just think everybody should have an understanding about how groups like these really operate in the world. And just people need to be more informed and educated so that if at all possible they can avoid harmful groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses, because we need to get people away from false hope and false doctrine and get people to real hope, real salvation, and true happiness. Because true happiness is not being a Jehovah's Witness. And to end my video, I would just say that is the most important thing. Although I was drawn into the Jehovah's Witnesses, the important thing is that I got out. And I came to my senses, informed myself what they really are all about, and I got out. And I keep making these videos because others need to be warned and to stay away from groups like these. So I thank you guys for watching my video. Please subscribe if you like and enjoy my videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye.